After the kind of general consensus of my previous review, I'm going to today review The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. This is the second book in the Wheel of Time series, and like I said, I posted a video on Friday, I think it was, and that seemed to do quite well. So I'm going to give my thoughts on this one and tell you how much I enjoyed it, basically. Before we get into the video, make sure to do the usual stuff of like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So, The Great Hunt. I felt this was a very well structured second novel to a large series like this. I had some issues at the end of the first, kind of the end of the first book, which I stated previously, about how I felt the ending was kind of vague, but all of that is kind of cleared up in the beginning of this book. I'm kind of aware. I feel like with the Wheel of Time, you never fully understand what's going on, but you kind of piece together more and more as you go, which is kind of what, with most stories, but I feel this one does this really well. Let me just talk about the kind of world for a second. You see the map at the beginning of the book in the Eye of the World, and you're like, looks looks large, looks amazing. So many named places. I wonder what's going to happen. And in the first book, they travel like quite a distance. For me, I don't know if this is just me, but I saw the second book and was like, how are they going to make it different? How are they going to give me more of the world? Because I've been given so much already. But that was kind of like a brief tour, basically, of the world. Whereas this one breaks everything down into more detail. You get to learn more about the different cultures, and it's phenomenal. I really enjoy this. It starts off with a kind of slow, a couple slower scenes at the beginning, but very like very few, and then it kicks it up a notch, and it becomes more intense, and then there's a fight, kind of not really a fight, but like a well, I guess say a kind of a fight. Basically, some more of a intense scenes within the first like fifth of the book, and then it kicks it off for the plot that carries on for the rest of the novel. And I feel this one is structured and paced quite well. Um, it just I felt that them progressing ever so slightly towards something, and there were no like lulls for me within this one. There might have been a couple, but none that I can remember off the top of my head. Like I said before, uh, I am doing this review having read this book now a few months ago, so I'm trying to remember everything that I thought at the time and just also my thoughts that I got now. Let's switch and talk about the characters. In this one, Rand gets kind of thrust again to the front of the novel, um, taking kind of the center role here, and you can follow him through his journey. Um, it's in the consequences of the previous novel and how he is struggling to not only understand but kind of what Robert Jordan wanted to do was to make it seem well, just show what really would be like if you were told that you what were prophesized to do this, you were had this great destiny, because a lot of the time, especially Rand, he is kind of like not angst, but just his kind of defiance of that. I'm like just wanting to be himself, because every time you see in these kind of novels where they're like, "Oh yeah, you're the chosen one," whatever, and they're just okay, cool, let's go do this, and that's just not true, because half the time people would just want to be left alone, and they don't want to be drawn into this thing and given all this responsibility that they didn't want in the first place. And I feel that that's kind of Rand throughout this book. Obviously, you've got the main supporting cast. You've got Matt, who's always amazing. Um, I think Matt did get on my nerves a little bit in this novel for plot reasons, but he was supposed to. That's not something that was surprising. Not only that, but you've got Perrin, who kind of takes a bit of a backseat in this novel, if I'm to be correct. Um, it's like I said, it's more of a focus on Rand, but I do still really enjoy those characters and the kind of like subtle development you get from them whilst taking a more minor role. On top of that, you've also got Moraine and Lan, who are both amazing. Nynaeve, Egwene, they all are just great. I love these characters, and it's weird because I've only read the first. Well, I've read the first few now, but having only read them, the characters just seem to come into their own very quickly. Especially in the first novel, and now the second one, it's just even further, and I kind of can understand the characters a lot more. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to switch to talking about spoilers, and this will mainly be about the kind of climax of the novel, as well as some other plot points. So if you haven't read the book, click off now, go read the book, then come back and watch the video. And yeah, so let's go. So let's start off with the climax. We'll start off with the end of the book. And this kind of fight at the end with the Blade Master and kind of proving that Rand is not only developing his character but getting better in terms of his ability, managing to kind of hold his own against another Blade Master, which is something that's really cool. And then you have the kind of bigger battle after that with the horn being blown. Something that I wasn't too sure about. I don't know how. I'm not 100% sure. Was the kind of fight in the sky, which sounds really cool. But for me, again, the book seems really cool. But I'm now just thinking, aware that we've got a TV show coming out. I feel like that part might be really weird to do. I'm just thinking visually. I don't know how they can make it without it seeming kind of a bit cheesy. But in the book, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really great. And just this whole thing of Rand now becoming more and more powerful. Not only just because he can use the one power, but like I said, when he's like holding his own against the Blade Master, and his skills are getting better as a fighter. Some of the other characters also seem to be kind of becoming more developed. I like the kind of the relationship now that they've got with like between Moraine and Rand, and how they're kind of like Moraine is trying to remind him of how much responsibility he has and is trying to help him, but Rand is also having none of it and is very annoyed with the fact that this kind of role has been placed upon him and that he now has to do a lot more and is responsible for a load of people basically. One thing I do really like is the pacing. I said this before earlier in just the general level, but especially the kind of climax and the final segments were amazing. I read like the last like 150 pages, I think 200 pages in one sitting because it was just like very like not quick, but like just it was just one of those times where you just can't put the book down. You have to just continue reading all the way through to the end, and I thought that this book did this really well. So I'm excited to read some of the ones afterwards. Obviously, like I said, I've read third and the fourth one, so I'll try and get reviews out for those very soon, just so we can catch up to where I'm at personally, and then we can continue from there, and hopefully get at least the first half done by November when the show's been announced to come out. Might even be able to get more done. Depends on how quick I am getting the reviews out and how quick I am at reading. But other than that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe and do that usual stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.